Hello again! This is Brookle, and I'm back with part 2 to my previous video. There, I introduced y'all to my animated series concept, Fast and Fierce, and I showed you our main character, Hadley, and a few of her friends. So watch that video if you want to get all the information. But as a recap, this is a racing series that follows 3 teenage girls competing in a Formula One inspired sport called Throttle One. But with that, let's just get right into it. Okay, so our second main character is Giorgia Ascari, but everyone just calls her Gia. Gia was born and raised in Italy, and she grew up surrounded by Throttle One. Both her grandpa and her dad were in T1 and very successful, so being the first child, she was immediately looked at as the next step in their family's legacy. Gia didn't really understand this when she was little. She started karting when she was 4 and she loved it. She really enjoyed karting and she was really talented at it, and so she won a lot. But as she got older, she started to realize that her family wasn't taking her to karting just because she liked it and was having a good time, but because they expected her to win. And so she grew up karting and winning nearly every race. So she was well known not only in her circles, but also in the media, because her family is so famous. And this tended to alienate her from her peers. A lot of her competitors were really intimidated by her and avoided her. Meanwhile, at school, all of the kids were interested in her for her notoriety. But she barely had any time to hang out with them since she was always practicing. Gia went on being kind of lonely until she was about 12, when a new girl showed up and started karting as well, and her name was Jada. Jada wasn't really aware of the cliques and just wanted to be friends with everyone. And so she and Gia became really close, and this actually helped Gia bond with some of the people she's been racing against since the beginning. Previously, they had avoided her, but Jada brought everyone together. Gia and Jada are still super close, even through Gia's first season in T1. Gia had a monumental rookie run, even being the youngest driver to ever win the championship. So by the beginning of the series, Gia is ready for her second run in Throttle One after having a very difficult off-season. As you can probably tell, Gia is a very different character from Hadley. Gia comes from immense wealth and strives for perfection. All of her days are planned to the second, and it has become an obsession for her. She drives to win, and every time she does, there's a sense of relief and joy. But that only lasts for a short time because there's always another race, and that means there's always another opportunity to lose. I'm really happy with how Gia's design turned out. This outfit was actually my second attempt. The first one did not pan out the way I had it in my head, but I really like this look. I think it does a way better job at her conveying her colder personality, and it's also just way more stylish. I do want to point out that Gia also always has her hair slicked back so that it's out of her face and she has full visibility. The next character we will be looking at is Gia's father. Gia's dad is a retired T1 driver, and he is very committed to making Gia the best. He has a very distant relationship with her, but it's distant in the way that he's always around, always watching, but never fully interacting with her. He will constantly analyze her driving, her workout, her food choices, her posture, her speech, but he will barely comment on it. So Gia has had to learn how to read his facial expressions. He normally has an unwelcoming face, but the slightest raise of an eyebrow means everything to Gia. And the only time Gia ever sees him smile is when she wins. And this is another reason why winning has become so important to her, because it kind of feels like that's the only time when her father will ever acknowledge her and be proud of her. So Gia's father has obviously had a huge effect on her, and because of that, she's picked up a lot of his qualities. When she talks to others, she is very short and straight to the point, just like him. And this is another reason why people don't really want to be around Gia. She can come off as mean and unsympathetic, but she's just seeing it as being focused. I don't really have much else to say about her dad because I don't want to give it away for the series, so I'm just going to let the speed paint go on for a bit. I was definitely a bit nervous about drawing a grown man, but I actually had a lot more fun than I expected. I think it's because I really enjoyed figuring out which features Gia got from her mom and which she got from her dad. I just always find this so fascinating, especially in animation and character design, so that was really enjoyable for me. I also tried to draw him with his classic scowl, and I dressed him in a very nice suit to show his rigidity. I think he looks very Italian and intimidating. The last character we have is Gia's grandpa. This might not be an expected choice, but her papa is actually really important to her story. So Gia actually turned out less emotionally stunted than most people would if they had her father, and that's because her papa made up for it. Unlike her dad, Papa was very loving and present growing up. A big part of the reason Gia loves racing and always wanted to go to practice is because it was where she would bond with her papa. He taught her how to drive, and he encouraged her to strive for the best, instilling confidence in her abilities. Gia is super close with her papa, and he was the first person she hugged when she won the championship. Papa was also a T1 driver, and he's actually widely renowned as being one of the best T1 drivers of all time. But nowadays, he is just enjoying his retirement and his time with his granddaughter. So I did want to draw him as just a chill, retired guy, and I did want it to kind of be like a wolf in sheep's clothing, because he is a really nice grandpa, but he was not a very good father. This was a similar situation to Gia's dad, but even more so, because not only did I have to draw a man, but an old man. And this is nothing against old man. I'm just a chronic illustrator of cute girls in cute outfits. But I think it went okay, and I think he looks really close to what I imagined him in my head. I think it's really cool to see the 3 generations of this one family and how racing has affected each of their lives. And I had so much fun drawing them. Like I said earlier, I just find it fascinating how similar and different parents and children turn out, and I hope I was able to capture that in the final illustrations. Sorry for this video being a little shorter than expected. I had internet issues thanks to my evil landlord, so he made it more difficult for me to finish this video. But as for the next video, that will be about our last girl, Jada, which you heard about today. And once again, if you haven't watched the first video, I would really recommend it. Otherwise, you can check out the Fast and Fierce Patreon. As of right now, it is still free, so jump on that while it lasts. And I just did want to let you all know that I am trying to post once a week on the Patreon and then every 2 weeks on the channel. So in 2 weeks is when the next video will be coming out. So I guess that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.